Well, my Facebook friends, you know it. Number 8 in your scorecard, but number 1 in your heart, Albert Sugar Bear Barbieri. Well, I'm here at the L.A.P.C. poker tournament, and I told you I would bring an interview to you if I found an interesting character. Today, not a movie star. I would say not an actor, or in his own right, he is a TV star. He's a Poker Hall of Famer. He is known as the WPT or former WPT commentator. He is known for his signature saying, well, how do you say it there, Mr. Sexton?
May all your cards be live and your pots be monsters.
Say hello to my poker friend and Hall of Fame poker player, Mike Sexton. How you doing, Mike?
Yeah, doing great, Al. Thanks.
Listen, it's good to see you. Mike is on my table again. We battle a lot, me and Mikey. But, Mike, I'm going to talk about, first of all, as I introduced you to everybody, you're known for being the commentator at the final table of the WBT, and now you're no longer with the WBT. Can you tell us what your next endeavors are now?
No, I left the World Poker Tour a year and a half ago because I was offered a job as chairman of Party Poker, and honestly, it was just too good an offer to refuse. And, you know, I love the World Poker Tour, still love it, and, you know, it'll always be special in my heart, but... you know, you got to go where opportunity provides itself.
Yeah. We live in the United States of America, right? Anyway. Before we get into some other things about how you started playing poker, can you give us maybe your top 2 memory of the WPT final table? What was your most memorable one that you felt in all the years you did?
Well, there was 2. Number 1 was when Doyle Brunson won his title. He was the first world champion to win a WPT event. He was 71 or 2 years old. He's still the oldest player to ever win a WPT event. And I was real close with Doyle, so that was special to see him win a WPT title. That was pretty cool.
Was that in 2004 when he beat...
It was. It was in 2004.
2004 at the bike, the Legends, right?
Yeah, it was at the Legends of Poker, correct.
How about that? Do you know I had 1% of him in that tournament?
And hey, how about it?
How about that? I am the...
Always making money this way.
I am the only guy, I believe, if you know any, please tell me. I'm the only guy that's ever got a piece of him in the main event.
Yeah, I didn't know he gave any up. But
I tell that story about how I got the 1%.
Right,
but anyway,
pretty good.
We'll move on. So, Mikey...
Number 2 is probably when the Devilfish won in Tunica at the World Poker Open, Jack Benion's tournament there, because he absolutely dominated the table like no player before or since that I've ever seen on a World Poker Tour final table. And Phil Ivey was on that final table, and he ran over him like a truck, and Ivey finished second in that tournament to the Devilfish.
Cool, very cool. I'm sure you got plenty of other memories, but...
Actually, the one I won was the most memorable.
Mikey, yes. I forgot to mention, Mikey holds a World Series bracelet, and you have a WPT title yourself.
I do. Very lucky to get one.
Well, that's cool. I'm envious, because I'm still looking for my first bracelet and my first W, but maybe one of these days. Now, let's go way back. You're a graduate of Ohio State?
Buckeye, yeah, I'm a Buckeye all the way.
And you are a former soldier. You were in the Army.
I was in the 82nd Airborne Division. I was a paratrooper, and I love that.
We thank you for your service.
I appreciate it. Yeah, it was great. I loved it.
But this is interesting. I've heard this about you, that you taught ballroom dancing while you were in the Army. Now, first of all, I'm thinking, how do you teach in men ballroom dancing without females? Are you doing this off the base?
No, I was doing it in a dance studio off the base. I had a cushy job when I was in the Army where I was off every night.
Right.
And I ended up teaching part-time ballroom dancing at night. I used to teach it in the summers at Arthur Murray's in Dayton, Ohio. Both my parents were ballroom dancers. Our whole family came up dancing. And so it was an opportunity to make some extra money when I was in the Army, and I enjoyed it.
Now, if Dancing with the Stars called on you, would you answer the bell?
I would have answered the bell. In fact, the World Poker Tour actually tried to get me on there one time, I think, and they failed in their attempt. I guess I'm not famous enough. I don't know, but I wouldn't have been out the first round. I promise you that.
I believe you. Now, you're also the poker world knows that you were very good friends with the great late Stu Unger. Can you share with the audience watching a couple of awesome stories about Stu, whether it was the final table or any you know, you're hanging around.
I mean, Stu Unger, to me, was the Bobby Fischer of poker. Honestly, the guy had a genius IQ, photographic memory, was sharper and quicker than anybody I've ever been around before or since. The guy was just a genius. He really was. And it's just sad he had the addiction problems that he had, because I truly believe had he survived until the television poker world came around, that he would have been so far up above whoever was in second place in terms of popularity and wins and money-wise and all, that it's not even close. I still believe he's the greatest no-limit hold'em player ever. I know a lot of young guys and today's players would dispute that, but I just wish Stewie was around so we could find out who was the best.
Right, exactly. Now, you live in Nevada now?
I do. Been in Las Vegas since 1985.
1985. Anything you want to share with us? I know we met in the 90s. Right, we met in the 90s, way before the Moneymaker, way before the Moneymaker.
Yeah, you're old school, see, like me.
We're old school.
Yeah.
What can you share with us your feeling or what your opinion is of where the poker world was back in the Binion's day when the World Series compared to where we're at now? What are the pros and the cons, or what's your?
Honestly, I almost preferred it back in the old days because it was like a reunion of friends and family, and money-wise, it's much huger now, a number of events. But back then, you had like 12 events at the World Series of Poker. That was it. And it was mostly limit poker. Like event one was a limit hold'em event, and it was far and away the largest event at the World Series of Poker. I mean, now, once television came in, it switched over to no limit hold'em.
Right.
And that's the game now. But back then, it was all limit poker, as you know.
Yeah, I do know.
And just honestly, it was just the guys from Texas and Oklahoma, a few others that played the main event back in the 70s, and then it started growing in the 80s, obviously, and got bigger and bigger. But it was very unique, very special, and they comped everybody back in those days. They had the most lavish buffet that you've ever seen with ice carvings and all this stuff.
Yep.
And it was just a different ambience than it is today. Today it's a corporate affair, a big business event, and obviously I'm very proud to see the way that the World Series of Poker has grown the event. It could have never done that at Binion's Horseshoe.
No.
Wasn't big enough. You needed a huge casino with a lot of ballroom space to be able to put this on, and they've done a magnificent job of doing that.
Cool. Now let me play some name association with you. I'll throw out some poker names.
All right, go ahead.
And whatever gets to your brain, you give it to us. All right, let's start off with the Brat Phil Hellmuth.
Unique.
Phil Ivey.
Very special.
Dan Unigranu.
Opinionated.
The late great John Benetti, my mentor.
Al Barbieri, right here is a man. Give us a little John Benetti real quick. He has the best impression in the history of John Benetti. John Benetti was a legend, incidentally, in the poker world for his behavior and his actions. And
my John Benetti impression when he first took me under his wing, he put me in a satellite. He came behind me. He wanted to see my hand. It was early in the satellite. I got age deuce off. I'm raising, and he's like, "Al, what do you got?" Now I don't want to show him. I'm waiting for somebody to but I can get rid of this. Al, what do you got? And there was betting, and I mucked my hand, and he walks away. You motherfucker. So now, about 15 minutes later, he comes walking over, and he goes like this. Come here, you. Come over here. Shut up. Shut the fuck up. What did you have at hand? Al, what? What did you have at hand? Age deuce. Get the fuck away from me. Get away. Security. Get him out. That's how my life started with John Benetti.
Okay. John Benetti was fan. I used to put on the Tournament of Champions back in the 90s. It was a huge tournament, a very big tournament. And we're on a break. The break just came up. John Benetti just lost a huge pot to a two-outer on the river.
Right.
And now the break goes off, and he's getting up, walking out. I said, John, what do you have? He said, the motherfucker put a two-outer on me. And the tournament director came up and gave him a penalty. He was on the break. Nobody was even at the tables anymore. And the guy asked him what he had, because you couldn't use the F word back in those days without getting a penalty. Benetti's the only one in the history of poker to get a penalty by using the F word on a break.
On a break. Let me close with a classic story about John Benetti. He sits at the table. Now, a lot of people had John wrong, right? He was a teddy bear, but he had a rough edge to him that if you didn't know him, you thought this guy was
just
an
the New Yorker to him,
yeah.
Let's face it.
So, he was getting bad beat after bad beat, and he would say to the dealer, where you from? Now, the dealer already knows this guy's an angry, miserable guy at the table. The dealer's not answering him. Dealer, where you from? The dealer ain't answering. Now he comes down, real apologetic. Dealer, I'm asking you a question. Where are you from? Real nice. Now the dealer, the woman, she gets to answer him. Well, I'm from Kansas City. Well, why don't you go the fuck back there? That's chomping Eddie.
I mean, look how many people that were Asian dealers back in the day.
Oh, goodness.
He'd lose a pot and he'd say, "Why don't you get back on the boat you came over here on?" He was brutal on the dealers.
All right, a
He
couple
was
other
bad.
names.
All right.
Sam Grizzle.
Sam Grizzle, very funny.
Cindy Violet.
Cindy Violet. She was like a 10 when I first met her in the poker world. Really a pretty girl, great stud player.
Okay. How about Greg FBT Mueller?
The Canadian hockey is what I think of him when I think of him.
Well, Mike, I want to thank you for joining me. It's been a pleasure. You got nice chip stacking. I'm at your table. We started with 20,000 chips. You got.
We're on the first break here.
I understand, but you got a nice. I'm not putting the Beloits on.
All right.
But I hope to see you
I
at the final.
appreciate it,
tip.
Al. Thanks for this.
All right, gang. You had it. You see it. All right, Mike Sexton here at the L.A.P.C. All right, gang. Take care.